Oda Nobunaga, June 23, 1534 – June 21, 1582, was a powerful samurai warlord of Japan in the late 16th century, who initiated the unification of Japan near the end of the Warring States period. He lived a life of continuous military conquest, eventually conquering a third of Japan before his death in a 1582 coup d'état. His successors were Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a loyal Oda supporter who was the first to unify all of Japan and was thus the first ruler of the whole country since the Onin War, and later Tokugawa Ieyasu, who was to consolidate his rule under a shogunate, which ruled Japan until the Meiji Restoration in 1868. Oda Nobunaga is remembered in Japan as one of the most brutal figures of the Warring States period and was recognized as one of Japan's greatest rulers. He was the first of three unifiers during the Warring States period, followed by Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu. Nobunaga was well on his way to the complete conquest and unification of Japan when Akechi Mitsuhide, one of his generals, attacked him while he was lodging at Honnoji in Kyoto. It is not known for certainty if Nobunaga died in the attack or if he committed seppuku to avoid being killed by his attackers. Following the attack, Akechi Mitsuhide summarily declared himself master over Nobunaga's domains, but was quickly defeated by Toyotomi Hideyoshi. The motivation of Mitsuhide's betrayal was never revealed to anyone who survived the incident, and has been a subject of debate and conjecture ever since the incident. Early years. Oda Nobunaga was born on June 23, 1534, in the Owari domain, and was given the childhood name of Kipposhi. He was the second son of Oda Nobuhide, a deputy shugo with land holdings in Owari province. He is said to have been born in Nagoya Castle, although this is subject to debate. Through his childhood and early teenage years, he was well known for his bizarre behavior and received the name of Owari no Outsuki. He was known to run around with other youths from the area, without any regard to his own rank in society. With the introduction of firearms into Japan, though, he became known for his fondness of Tanegashima firearms. Unification of Owari province. In 1551, Oda Nobuhide died unexpectedly. Nobunaga was said to have acted outrageously during his funeral, throwing ceremonial incense at the altar. This convinced many Oda retainers of Nobunaga's mediocrity and lack of discipline. Alienated, they then began to side with his soft-spoken and well-mannered brother, Nobuyuki. Hirat Masahide, a valuable mentor and retainer to Nobunaga, was ashamed by Nobunaga's behavior and performed seppuku. This had a huge effect on Nobunaga, who later built a temple to honor Masahide. Succession disputes. Though Nobunaga was Nobuhide's legitimate successor, the Oda clan was divided into many factions, and the clan was technically under the control of Owari's shugo, Shiba Yoshimune. Oda Nobutomo, the deceased Nobuhide's brother and deputy to the shugo, used the weak Yoshimune as his puppet and challenged Nobunaga's place as Owari's new ruler. Nobutomo murdered Yoshimune when it was discovered that he supported and attempted to aid Nobunaga. Nobunaga persuaded Oda Nobumatsu, a younger brother of Nobuhide, to join his side and, with Nobumatsu's help, slew Nobutomo in Kiyosu Castle, which later became Nobunaga's place of residence for over 10 years. Taking advantage of the position of Shiba Yoshikana, Yoshimune's son, as the rightful shugo, Nobunaga forged an alliance with the Imagawa clan of Tsuruga province and the Kira clan of Mikawa province, as both clans had the same shugo and would have no excuse to decline. This also ensured that the Imagawa clan would have to stop attacking Owari's borders. Though Nobuyuki and his supporters were still at large, Nobunaga brought an army to Mino province to aid Sato Dosun after Dosun's son, Sato Yoshitatsu, turned against him. The campaign failed, as Dosun was killed, and Yoshitatsu became the new master of Mino in 1556. Elimination of Nobuyuki. A few months later, Nobuyuki, with support from Shibata Katsui and Hayashi Hidesada, rebelled against Nobunaga. The conspirators were defeated at the Battle of Ino, but were pardoned after the intervention of Tsukadai-gozen, the birth mother of Nobunaga and Nobuyuki. The next year, Nobuyuki again planned to rebel. Nobunaga was informed of this by Shibata Katsui, then faked illness to get close to Nobuyuki and assassinated him in Kiyosu Castle. By 1559, Nobunaga had eliminated all opposition within the clan and Owari province. He continued to use Shiba Yoshikana as a pretext to make peace with other daimyo, though it was later discovered that Yoshikana had secretly corresponded with the Kira and Imegawa clans, attempting to oust Nobunaga and restore the Shiba clan's place. Nobunaga eventually cast him out, voiding alliances created in the Shiba clan's name. Rise to power. Battle of Okazama in 1560, Imegawa Yoshimoto gathered an army of 40,000 men and started his march toward Kyoto, with the pretext of aiding the frail Ashikaga shogunate. The Matsudaira clan of Mikawa province also joined Yoshimoto's forces. Against this, the Oda clan could rally an army of only 3,000, and the forces needed to be split up to defend various border forts. Under such circumstances, Nobunaga was said to have performed his favorite Atsumori dance at Kiyosu Castle, before riding off with only a few attendants to pray. Due to the sheer imbalance in the forces available to the two clans the night before, Shibata Katsui had tried in vain to change Nobunaga's mind about a frontal attack. He kept reminding Nobunaga of the joint army's lack of manpower, compared to Imegawa's numerous soldiers. Hayashi Hidesada, the remaining advisor from Nobuhide's days, even argued for surrender without fighting, using the same reasoning as Katsui. Nobunaga's scouts reported that Yoshimoto was resting at the narrow gorge of Dengaku Hazama, ideal for a surprise attack, and that the Imegawa army were celebrating their victories while Yoshimoto viewed the heads. Nobunaga moved towards Imegawa's camp, and set up a position some distance away. An array of flags and dummy troops made of straw and spare helmets gave the impression of a large host, while the rear Oda army hurried round in a rapid march to get behind Yoshimoto's camp. The heat gave way to a terrific thunderstorm. As the Imegawa samurai sheltered from the rain, Nobunaga deployed his troops, and when the storm ceased, they charged down upon the enemy in the gorge, so suddenly that Yoshimoto thought a brawl had broken out among his men, only realizing it was an attack when two samurai charged up. One aimed a spear at him, which Yoshimoto deflected with his sword, but the second swung his blade and cut off Imegawa's head. Rapidly weakening in the wake of this battle, the Imegawa clan no longer exerted control over the Matsudaira clan. In 1561, an alliance was forged between Oda Nobunaga and Matsudaira Motoyasu, despite the decades-old hostility between the two clans. Tradition dates this battle as the first time that Nobunaga noticed the talents of the sandal-bearer who would eventually become Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Siege of Inobeyama Castle in Mino, Sato Yoshitatsu died suddenly of illness in 1561, and was succeeded by his son, Sato Tatsuoki. Tatsuoki, however, was young and much less effective as a ruler and military strategist compared to his father and grandfather. Taking advantage of this situation, Nobunaga moved his base to Komaki Castle and started his campaign in Mino. By convincing Sato retainers to abandon their incompetent and foolish master, Nobunaga weakened the Sato clan significantly, eventually mounting a final attack in 1567. Nobunaga captured Inobeyama Castle and sent Tatsuoki into exile. After taking possession of the castle, Nobunaga changed the name of both the castle and the surrounding town to Gifu. Remains of Nobunaga's residence in Gifu can be found today in Gifu Park. naming it after the legendary Mount Qi in China, on which the Zhou dynasty started. Nobunaga revealed his ambition to conquer the whole of Japan. He also started using a new personal seal that read Tenka Fubu, which means, all the world by force of arms. In 1564, Nobunaga had his sister, Oichi, marry Azai Nagamasa, a daimyo in northern Omi province. This would later help pave the way to Kyoto. Campaign in Kyoto in 1568, Ashikaga Yoshiaki went to Gifu to ask Nobunaga to start a campaign toward Kyoto. Yoshiaki was the brother of the murdered 13th shogun of the Ashikaga shogunate, Yoshiteru, and wanted revenge against the killers who had already set up a puppet shogun, Ashikaga Yoshihide. Nobunaga agreed to install Yoshiaki as the new shogun and, grasping the opportunity to enter Kyoto, started his campaign. An obstacle in southern Omi province, however, was the Rokkaku clan. Led by Rokkaku Yoshikata, the clan refused to recognize Yoshiaki as shogun and was ready to go to war. In response, Nobunaga launched a rapid attack, driving the Rokkaku clan out of their castles. Within a short amount of time, Nobunaga had reached Kyoto and driven the Miyoshi clan out of the city. Yoshiaki was made the 15th shogun of the Ashikaga shogunate. Nobunaga refused the post of kanrei, and eventually began to restrict the powers of the shogun, making it clear that he intended to use him as a facade to justify his future conquests. Yoshiaki, however, was not pleased about being a puppet and secretly corresponded with various daimyo, forging an anti-Nobunaga alliance. Campaign against rival daimyo. Battle of Anagawa. The Asakura clan was particularly disdainful of the Oda clan's increasing power because, historically, the Oda clan had been subordinate to the Asakura clan. Furthermore, Asakura Yoshikage had also protected Ashikaga Yoshiaki, but had not been willing to march toward Kyoto. Thus, the Asakura clan also despised Nobunaga the most for his success. When Nobunaga launched a campaign into the Asakura clan's domain, Azai Nagamasa, to whom Oichi was married, broke the alliance with Oda to honor the Azai-Asakura alliance which had lasted for generations. With the help of Ikko rebels, the anti-Nobunaga alliance sprang into full force, taking a heavy toll on the Oda clan. At the Battle of Anagawa, Tokugawa Ieyasu joined forces with Nobunaga and defeated the combined forces of the Asakura and Azai clans. The Enryakuji monastery on Mount Hiei, with its Sohei of the Tendai school who aided the anti-Nobunaga group by helping Azai-Asakura alliance, was an issue for Nobunaga since the monastery was so close to his base of power. Nobunaga attacked Enryakuji and razed it in 1571, killing between 3,000 and 4,000 men, women and children in the process. The temple was admired as a significant cultural symbol at the time. Siege of Nagashima and Ishiyama Honganji. During the Siege of Nagashima, Nobunaga suffered tremendous losses, including the death of a couple of his brothers, to the Ikoiki resistance, a coalition of peasant farmers, monks, Shinto priests, and local nobles that opposed samurai rule. The siege finally ended when Nobunaga surrounded the enemy complex and set fire to it, killing tens of thousands of non-combatants, including women and children. He later succeeded in taking their main stronghold at Ishiyama Honganji after an 11-year siege that ended with its surrender. Battle of Nagashino. One of the strongest rulers in the anti-Nobunaga alliance was Takeda Shingen. In spite of his generally peaceful relationship and a nominal alliance with the Oda clan, in 1572, at the urgings of the shogun, Shingen decided to make a drive for the capital, starting with invading Tokugawa territory. Tied down on the western front, Nobunaga sent lackluster aid to Ieyasu, who suffered defeat of the Battle of Nakatagahara in 1573. However, after the battle, Tokugawa's forces launched night raids and convinced Takeda of an imminent counterattack, thus saving the vulnerable Tokugawa with the bluff. This would play a pivotal role in Tokugawa's philosophy of strategic patience in his campaigns with Oda Nobunaga. Shortly thereafter, the Takeda forces retreated after Shingen died of illness in 1573. This was a relief for Nobunaga because he could now focus on Yoshiaki, who had openly declared hostility more than once. Despite the imperial court's intervention, Nobunaga was able to defeat Yoshiaki's forces and sent him into exile, bringing the Ashikaga shogunate to an end in the same year. Also in 1573, Nobunaga successfully destroyed the Asakura and Izai clans, leading Izai Nagamasa to send Oichi back to Nobunaga and commit suicide. With Nagashima's destruction in 1574, the only threat to Nobunaga was the Takeda clan, now led by Takeda Katsuyori. At the decisive Battle of Nagashino, the combined forces of Nobunaga and Tokugawa Ieyasu devastated the Takeda clan with the strategic use of arquebuses. Nobunaga compensated for the arquebus's slow reloading time by arranging the arquebuses in 3 lines. After each line fired, it would duck and reload as the next line fired. The bullets were able to pierce the Takeda cavalry armor, who were pushed back and killed by incoming fire. From there, Nobunaga continued his expansion, sending Shibata, Katsui and Midatoshi to the north and Akechi Mitsuhide to Tamba province. Surrender of Ishiyama Honganji in 1574. Nobunaga accepted the title of Kuga. Then in 1577 he was given the title of Minister of the Right, the third highest position in the imperial court. The Oda clan's siege of Ishiyama Honganji in Osaka made some progress, but the Mori clan of the Chugoku region broke the naval blockade and started sending supplies into the strongly fortified complex by sea. As a result, in 1577, Hashiba Hideyoshi was ordered to expand west to confront the Mori clan. However, Uesugi Kenshin, said to be the greatest general of his time since the demise of Takeda Shingen, took part in the Second Anti-Oda Alliance. Following his conquest of neighboring forces, the two sides clashed during the Battle of Tedorigama, which resulted in a decisive Uesugi victory. It was around this time that the Uesugi forces began preparations to march on Kyoto. Due to his defeat, Nobunaga's expansion in Noto, Kaga, and Etchu province area stagnated. But Kenshin, who prepared to move his armies again after the battle, died from a possible cerebral hemorrhage before moving them. After Kenshin's death and much confusion among his successors, Nobunaga started his campaign again on this area. Nobunaga forced the Ishiyama Honganji to surrender in 1580 and destroyed the Takeda clan in 1582. Nobunaga's administration was at its height of power and he was about to launch invasions into Akigo province and Shikoku, Kuotonoji and death. In 1582, Nobunaga's former sandal-bearer Hashiba Hideyoshi invaded Bitchu province, laying siege to Takamatsu Castle. The castle was vital to the Mori clan, and losing it would leave the Mori home domain vulnerable. Led by Mori Teramoto, reinforcements arrived outside Takamatsu Castle, and the two sides came to a standstill. Hideyoshi asked for reinforcements from Nobunaga. It has often been argued that Hideyoshi had no need for reinforcements, but asked Nobunaga anyway for various reasons. Most believe that Hideyoshi, envied and hated by fellow generals for his swift rise from a lowly footman to a top general under Oda Nobunaga, wanted to give the credit for taking Takamatsu to Nobunaga so as to humble himself in front of other Oda vassals. In any case, Nobunaga ordered Niwa Nagahide to prepare for an invasion of Shikoku, and Akechi Mitsuhide to assist Hideyoshi. En route to Chugoku region, Nobunaga stayed at Honnoji, a temple in Kyoto. Since Nobunaga would not expect an attack in the middle of his firmly controlled territories, he was guarded by only a few dozen personal servants and bodyguards. His son Nobutada stayed at Myokakuji, a temple on the grounds of Nijo Palace, the forerunner to Nijo Castle. Mitsuhide chose that time to attack. On June 21, 1582, Mitsuhide took a unit of his men and surrounded the Honnoji while sending another unit of Akechi troops to assault Myokakuji, initiating a full coup d'etat. At Honnoji, Nobunaga's small entourage was soon overwhelmed, and as the Akechi troops closed in on the burning temple where Nobunaga had been residing, he decided to commit seppuku in one of the inner rooms. Unknown to Nobunaga, his son Nobutada died in the fighting before the temple where he was staying. At Honnoji, only his young page, Mori Ranmaru, remained at his master's side. He was still in his teens. Ranmaru's loyalty and devotion to his lord were widely known and praised during the Edo period. He attended to Nobunaga as he sought a moment of peace to carry out his last act, then Ranmaru likewise killed himself in the same way. The cause of Mitsuhide's betrayal is controversial. It has been proposed that Mitsuhide may have heard a rumor that Nobunaga would transfer Mitsuhide's fief to the page, Mori Ranmaru, with whom Nobunaga is alleged to have been in a ritualized homosexual relationship, a form of patronage known as shudo. Other motives include revenge for Nobunaga's numerous insults and derisive treatment of Mitsuhide, or Mitsuhide's jealousy as Nobunaga had shown greater favor toward another vassal, Hashiba Hideyoshi. Another possible motive is for revenge, as Akechi Mitsuhide's mother was killed because Nobunaga had gone against a peace treaty that he had previously agreed to. In 1579, Nobunaga captured Yakami Castle from Hato Hideharu by promising Hideharu peace terms. This accomplished Mitsuhide's goal, although Nobunaga betrayed the peace agreement and had Hideharu executed. According to several stories, this displeased the Hato family, and a short while later several of Hideharu's retainers murdered Akechi Mitsuhide's mother. The situation was fueled through several public insults Nobunaga had directed at Mitsuhide that even drew the attention of some Western observers. However, Mitsuhide's actual motive for attacking Nobunaga at Honnoji is not known. Just 11 days after the coup at Honno Temple, Mitsuhide was killed at the Battle of Yamazaki and his army was defeated by Hashiba Hideyoshi, who eventually became heir to Nobunaga's legacy. He is more widely known as Toyotomi Hideyoshi. At the time of Nobunaga's death, he was in control of more than half of the provinces in Japan, the majority of which were in the Kyoto region.